What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Truck Driver Sean YouTube channel. Today, I am here to give you a look at my Seritone amplification, Leviathan. You can get these straight from Seritone, or if you're lucky, find, like I did, find one used in the United States. They're out of Malaysia, I believe. That's where they're from. It's a circuit you're all used to. It's a plexi. There's really no other way to put it. It's a plexi is a plexi is a plexi. Except for this one is modded to the hilt. Right off the bat, I'm going to say if you could take a Marshall's bass line and then take the best of Soldano and the best of Friedman, put them together and just sprinkle a little tiny touch of Fortin into it. That's what this thing does. Now, as far as options on this thing, I do not have enough time in my weekend to film a video showing you all the options on this. I'll do separate videos on certain options, certain channels. At the end of the day, this thing it's got the kitchen sink, and it's got your mom's dirty panties too. It's got fucking everything. I think it even comes with a free reach around from your mom, but I don't know. You'll have to ask Terrance, because he had this before I did. Which, by the way, massive shout out and thanks, man. I can't thank you enough for treating me really decent on this. So thank you, Terrance. By the way, he has a YouTube channel, and what's cool about this guy is most left-handed guitar players have the shittiest guitars on the planet. They just do. This dude's got some pretty sweet axes, and he's left-handed. Plays very genty, progressive stuff. Lately, he's been throwing a lot of 80s riffs and stuff in there, kind of showing that he's a little more of a round player than just a which I personally enjoy. Yeah. So yeah, huge thanks, man. Not too often you have an amp sent to you that's in good condition. But this thing is great. I like it. I really like that it has the not so old school front thing to it. Some of them come with this like really ugly tweed. This is all straight black on the plastic wannabe chrome stuff, which I think is just a really thick plastic thing that's over aluminum. I think. I don't know. I didn't take it apart because that's not what I do. So you have three channels. Two channels share an EQ. So you have your gain channels, which are 2 and 3, and you have one that I say will be good for like your 80s rock. You cut the gain back some good AC/DC. You can do country music with it pretty efficiently, and it will go doom on you if you want it to. Which we'll do that one of these days now that I'm starting to cover some doom stuff. Channel 3 is your burner, man. When you talk high gain, it's what you want. And you're telling me stuff, man. All these amps I play kind of have the same damn thing. Here's where things get a little funky. So we do have the usual suspects on the front as far as being able to, you get your bass, your middle, your treble, your presence, your resonance, yada, yada, yada. Master volume, all that shit. Every amp on the planet has it. So where this kind of gets crazy is you have your mid boost, and you have 3 different boosts. You have like kind of a really mid forward that's super chimey and crazy musical. You have one that's just exactly what you want from a mid boost. It just basically just takes the mids and gives them a little bump. And then you have one that gives it a slight trip backwards. But when you use that one that's backwards, the mids knob on the amp actually becomes like super transparent. It's very interesting. Like I said, one of these days I'll break down and show all that stuff. You also have a bright switch. You have bright switch 1 and bright switch 2, which I thought went with the channels, but after messing with it for a minute, they all kind of work together. So depending on what you're doing, what you're going to get out of it. And it will get super bright, it will get super tight, and it can get chubby. Like chubbier than me and way chubbier than your mom's fat ass. So we go over here. You have your channel switcher, which are not in order, oddly enough. And you can also change the clipping, which is now becoming kind of a thing on amps. And I'm on the fence. I use them sometimes, but I usually just leave them neutral. Like on this, it's just sitting neutral. It's not clipping down, it's not clipping up, it's just straight in the middle. So you got that on the front. And on the back, you have two switches. You have an S switch, all right? And then you have a... Son of a bitch, I forgot. Hopeless. Era, I say era. So, by the way, yes, that is a sexy shirt. You're right. $25 shipped to your house. Just get a hold of me. I'll hook your ass up. So, you have the S, which stands for saturation. It literally cuts the amp's saturation rate in half if it's down, and it puts it into high gain heaven when it's up. It's that simple. It's not going to ask questions. You're not going to ask questions, but if it's down, you're going low gain or low saturation. That's the thing that people don't understand about gain and distortion are kind of two different things, but they work together in an amp, and we just affectionately call it, well, gain. So, you know, you can have a high gain amp that doesn't have a lot of body to it, doesn't have a lot of saturation. It's still high gain. It's just not going to give you that thickness, right? So this is kind of the same thing. You can take and make it an old school amp. You can make it a modern amp. It really comes down to that. It's pretty simple. The other one, the era. Where the hell did I get that from? Era. So you have 60s, 70s, and modern. And it's painfully obvious when you do it. Like the 60s is kind of like, I don't know, the stoner rock guys will friggin' be jacking their dick all day to that shit. It's perfect. It gives you basically a $3,000 meta amp and a $1,700 amp with a flick of a switch. Clink. Then you go into the 70s and it gets super fuzzy and round and thick, you know, so like your mom's bush. And then you have modern, which is tight and right in your face, on the brink of being out of control, but it's tight enough where you can put boost pedals on it. It behaves freaking amazing. You have an effects loop that has a volume on the effects loop, so you know how intense it is. You can dial your amp back, which is great if you're like me. I play in a room. It's maybe 10 feet by 10 feet. Maybe. I know it's not 12. Because if I lay my dick out on the floor, it runs into the wall. So, yeah. And you have 2 speaker inputs. And your fuses are all accessible from the back. It's just really smart. And it's built like a tank. You want to talk about heavy? Holy hell. This thing is heavy as shit. The transformer that's in there is as big as my head. So they're not cheaping out. Actually, the only thing that's really kind of cheap on it, the knobs on the front, like, they're not good quality. So that's a simple thing to fix. You just take them off and put on some good ones. So I'm going to order some aftermarket knobs for these, which these have gold on it, but everything else is silver. So I'll probably buy some that are like aluminum or something. I don't know. I'll get funky with it. I'll contact some of the amp builders I know and see where their head's at on that, what would work really good for it. I'm not exactly good at that shit, so I think it just would look better with a silver or black on silver. Like where it's black here, make that silver in the tip of it. The tip. That's what she said. That's what she said. Where it's gold, make that black, you know? So once you go black, you can't go back. So yeah, what you heard today is just this. I do have a noise gate because high gain. Do I need to say anything else? I mean, high gain. And this is the version 2 of the Linchpin key and gate. It's from Linchpin. I mean, it's literally, I have it on basically 25% and it shuts this bitch down, makes it nice and quiet. I was using for a guitar my signature Deviant. It's called a Linchpin. I designed that with Deviant guitars and could not be happier with that guitar. My God, I love that thing. It just looks sick as fuck too. Like, it doesn't look like anything else, but sort of kind of looks like other things. That's all done by design, by the way. I'm using my monster cab that's loaded with an Eminence DB77 and a Man of War. Man of War, I'll say this every single time, that is an underrated speaker, man. You gotta go get you some of that. Especially if you like tight chugs. It really, if you mix it with a DB77, in my opinion, I know everybody's like, V30 and D70. Fuck, man. Give me that Man of War over a V30 any day of the week. Any day. Twice on Sundays. We go fucking hard on Sunday, man. We bring out the evil. But yeah, that's it. Nothing else. Just cables. That's it. Cables. So yeah. Again, it's $1,750 on their website plus shipping to the United States. It's going to end up running about $2,000 to get it to your house. If you find them used, people are just gouging the shit out of stuff nowadays. I don't even know what the hell to tell you. I'm going to say you're probably looking at about $1,800 used. If the person's unreasonable, more than that, it's still at $1,800. It's unreasonable. They really should go between 14 and 16 depending on the condition. And if there's anything less than that, you found something that's pretty cool and totally gets it. But they're definitely taking a shot in the foot, you know what I mean? Especially if it's in great condition like this one. This thing is in immaculate condition. I mean, it's got a little bit of wear, you know, from just having stuff sitting on top of it, but shit, every single one of my amps does. I sit pedals on top of it, and guitar picks. Sometimes my vape is up there, and just, I don't know. They're amps. They're not exactly prized possessions, and they're definitely not collectibles. They're tools for the chugs, as far as I'm concerned. Anyhow, I will show you more on this amp in the future. I just don't know how I want to do that yet, because if I do a video just showing all this stuff, my God, it's gonna be 2 hours long. There's so much shit in this amp. It's ridiculous. Maybe I'll do a series of short ones where I just show certain channels and play some dumb caveman riffs with the loop station and just turn some knobs. I don't know. We'll figure that out in the future. But I just wanted to kind of give my quick thoughts on this. And again, I want to thank Terrance over at Pariah vs. Gear. Dude, thanks again for hooking me up. You guys should go check him out, especially if you're like a lefty. You're like, no one does nothing for lefties. Lefties are so... No one gives a shit about lefties. Well, if every lefty that ever said that supported other lefties, you guys would have an amazing sized cult. I'm just saying. That, and he doesn't like play the shitty stuff that most left-handers do, because wherever he's getting them from, like, that dude tracks down amazing shit. You know? I ain't gonna say he got that stuff cheap, because you look at it, you know, just by looking at the woods, that dude paid some money for his shit, but he does. He plays very, very nice guitars, and if you like that really progressive and genty stuff, that dude's your guy. Although I will say, I'm enjoying when he does like throwback stuff, like some Aussie riffs, and Christ, I think he did Motley Crue the other day, and I was like, okay, cool level on this guy just went up a little bit. Rat, that's what it was. It was Rat. He played a Rat riff. I was like, I would never thought that Terrance would play a Rat riff. There he is, doing it. So it's kind of nice to see him breaking out. So he plays like 7 and 8 strings, you know, and obviously breaking out and playing some 6-string stuff is, if you've played extended range, you know that your brain's kind of wired a little differently. Unless you're Yorma Spaziano, then it doesn't matter what they put in your hand. The dude's fucking brilliant. But you turn around and you try that stuff. I tell you, go try to play your favorite AC/DC riffs on an 8-string guitar, but play it on the strings you're supposed to. There's some weird thing that happens to your mind. It takes a level of commitment to that instrument to be able to do it flawlessly. He does a really good job. So yeah, very cool. There it is, the Serractone. I finally got one. God knows, reaching out to that company didn't do shit for me. They didn't return my fucking emails. So I kind of have like a little bit of a fuck those guys thing, but this is a fucking beast. It really is. And it's got a lot of options. Sort of like swinger night with your mom, you know. It's like a buffet. She rolls out the options, and it's like, you know, the naughty and nice list Santa Claus rolls out in all the movies. All right, man. You, and you, and you, and you. Subscribe to my shit. Stop being an asshole. Keep music evil. Bring metal to the children. Like I said, don't be a dick. Subscribe to my shit. Later.